We're on the streets of the Los Angeles Convention Center.
It's beautiful. Look at the palm trees and whatnot. You can add this stuff later, right? With your special effects.
This is green screen, right?
I believe so. The curtain has a greenish hue.
So Nintendo's Direct Conference, which is not a press conference, it is a direct conference, I guess.
I don't know. We need new terminology when we're discussing Nintendo.
It's pre-recorded. It's not live. It was strange and funny and sometimes unfunny. The Robot Chicken animators made a bunch of segments for it, and I asked them if this was from the Robot Chicken people, and they said they weren't sure.
Yeah, are we sure?
They were doing all this weird fan service. They called out Mother 3.
Yes.
Which I thought was like, oh, is this a tease? But no, it's just them acknowledging that people want Mother 3 and that they're not making it.
It looked like a weird, like, this is how they view their fan base, is just like these petulant crybabies who want things that have been released in Japan and that are awesome.
Yeah, and Reggie Fils-Aimé throws fireballs at
He sets
the
him
people
on
in the front
fire.
row.
Yeah, I thought the jokes at the very beginning were funny.
It started out funny, yeah.
Right, but then like the interstitial jokes totally fell flat in my opinion. I wonder like the levels of approval that have to go through there, and I bet it just completely scrubs all humor except for like the most banal garbage, where it's just like, hey, can I have the last donut? No.
That was a very memorable.
Scene.
That was it.
And then he said, I deserve that. It's a living.
It's a living.
Anyway, so they showed some games.
But then they also had a really elaborate fight sequence between Iwata and Reggie Fils-Aimé.
And it was all segued to announce that Mii's are in Super Smash Brothers.
But then they showed they had like Abraham Lincoln and Elijah Wood, which was fun.
Finger on the pulse.
Yeah, finger on the pulse.
The big fight scene culminated with Iwata putting the little NFC Mario figure on the
That's right, the amiibos.
Amiibos.
Yeah, they even called out Skylanders and Disney Infinity.
Well, you do realize that in those, you don't get the characters in the game until you put the toy in there.
They were very clear that like, no. Smash Brothers will have everybody in it, and then the amiibos actually give you like a sort of AI fighter that you kind of train.
And then he can fight your friend's AI version, then you're ostensibly supposed to just sit there and watch this happen. Like,
yeah, I mean, I will admit, I've watched AI Smash Brothers characters fight each other, so maybe.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm excited about the figurines. I think they look really cool.
Yeah, they look really nice. They had some in like a little basket case to show us. We couldn't actually touch them.
No, that case was very strong. They said that they're also compatible with multiple games. So you buy a Mario figurine and
Smash Brothers is the first, and then they're gonna have more.
Right, they said like Mario Kart 8 will be following.
And then they also had the Toadstool game. The small game from Super Mario 3D World is now getting its own spin-off into its own puzzle game. Those were fun. I'm guessing it'll be just kind of like an eShop game.
Now, I thought the Yoshi game looked really cool.
Yeah.
Like, it is absolutely gorgeous.
It looks like a straight-up Yoshi game that we've played before, but it's just got this really nice new aesthetic. And it's got co-op, which is cool. Like, you can play as a green Yoshi and a red Yoshi, so that should be fun.
My favorite, too.
And then they had the new Kirby game for Wii U, which has a clay style. Splatoon is a new IP from Nintendo. You're like little squid people. You're people, but you can also turn into a squid.
Naturally.
The goal is to cover as much of the sort of area of the level as you can. It's like a 4-on-4. Well, what they showed us was a 4-on-4. There's a third-person shooter. When your colored paint is on the ground, you can turn into a squid and you can swim through that paint faster than you could if you were walking.
Correct.
And then you win a match by your team having more paint on the ground than the other team.
I honestly think that what they were doing is they're like, I'm thinking for them, so I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like, people like shooters, but we don't like shooting things. So maybe this is like a more family-friendly, like accessible way of doing it. I'm not expecting Call of Duty style multiplayer or anything like that.
But a reticle on the screen would be handy.
Reticle would be helpful, especially because you're covered by the back of your person.
Yeah,
So that's the problem.
Xenoblade Chronicles X was the thing.
Yeah.
They showed us Zelda.
They said with this new one, it's going to be what people have been experiencing in Elder Scrolls games for decades. So it's very exciting, innovative Nintendo stuff, so good job. I'm being a little sarcastic. To see something seamless, I think, will be interesting in Zelda.
It sounded like Link Between Worlds, that dungeons won't necessarily need to be tackled in a particular order. That's kind of what I got from it. I was very excited by it. It looks like it has like a little bit of, maybe a touch of sci-fi in it. You can finally play as Zelda in Hyrule Warriors.
And Midna.
And Midna.
And Impa.
Impa. They talked about Impa before. They promised a lot more characters, too.
But they didn't go into detail with it. Like, oh, these guys, these Dynasty Warriors guys, they are known for all the characters, and Whoo-wee, I'm surprised at what they're doing.
They said you will be able to play as your favorite character.
This is a point where everyone suddenly insists that like the worst character is their favorite. Just, you know, the most obscure bullshit character, just so they can be like, well, actually, Nintendo.
Maybe Tingle's father, that shopkeeper that gives you a camera in Majora's Mask.
Can I play as the moon?
That weird Skulltala spider in Ocarina of Time that lives in the house.
That weird little
Yes. The really old Goron from Majora's Mask.
Mr. Wright from Link's Awakening?
Oh, the Windfish.
That kid with the booger from Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah, he just swings it around.
Yeah, all of our favorites.
All of our favorite characters.
I'm fully on board with like people who said, "Come on, Nintendo, get your act together. This Nintendo Direct stuff sucks." But this is great because they get to do weird crap, have little puppet shows with silly jokes, and they can completely control everything. Yeah. So like people's mics don't stop working.
They don't totally screw up a Little Big Planet 3 co-op session.
Just disastrous. One of the worst. So I think for Nintendo it does work. I don't know that this is a format that really anyone else could do. Nothing against Sony, Microsoft, but they don't have guys with charisma to the degree of like a Reggie or an Iwata.
Like those executives have they've become Nintendo characters in a weird way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's fun that they're taking chances in their own incredibly frustrating way.
Excited to learn more about Zelda, for sure. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, good night, Jeff.
It was all a dream, right? Are you going to edit it that way? Have us dreaming this whole thing.